Hi, I'm Mike Harrington, and in 2014, I embarked on a health journey resulting in my losing over 200 pounds on my own. Since then, I've been sharing my story and have become an advocate for healthy living. Welcome to Mike Inspires Me, a podcast show about health, wellness, and amazing people to inspire you to take charge of your life and your health. By far, one of the most common questions I get when somebody learns that I've lost over 200 pounds is, what's your secret? And I can understand that because, hey, a lot of people aren't able to do that. Especially when they find out that I did it completely on my own, it becomes even more unbelievable. In fact, I've had people downright to my face or behind my back claim that I'm making it up and had weight loss surgery. Well, the reality is I didn't. I did do this completely through lifestyle change. And you got to wonder sometimes when people make such accusations, it's really about their own belief in themselves of not being able to do that they don't believe they could lose 200 pounds. Oh, let's just face it, or lose whatever amount, and you could weigh 200 pounds and certainly don't want to lose that much. But the point that you get is it becomes one of those things where it becomes such a large, inconceivable accomplishment that they question it and want to know, wow, he must have some secret that the rest of us don't know. And I've got bad news and I've got good news. And I'm going to do something different. I'm going to start with the good news. And it's the fact that it's simple and almost anyone can lose weight. You don't need any special skills, or expenses or special tools to do it. Funny thing on my one of my Fox 61 interviews on Real People with Stan Simpson, during the beginning of the show, Stan asked me, how are you able to maintain it? What's your secret? He literally asked me, what's your secret? And I jokingly answer, magic, right? Because let's face it, people, again, can't believe it. And then I followed up afterwards saying hard work. And therein lies the answer. It takes work, hard work. Now, the hard around that comes from the changes that, not so much the physical changes, but the mental changes that you have to make in order to get yourself to do those things. And I think that's part of the bad news. The bad news is it's not easy for everyone. There's no, pun intended, one size fits all approach to getting your health in order, to losing weight. It's a personal thing. And you need to address the root of why you got there. Because if you don't, you're going to end up possibly coming back. Let's face it. Many people who go on diets, many people who lose weight and actually successfully get there end up coming back to gaining weight and undoing what they're doing because of the fact that they don't really approach it with sort of a sustainable mindset. And I know that may sound kind of accusatory. I'm not trying to say that people are doing anything wrong. But the problem is that if you look at it as, well, I just got to lose weight, especially if you think about, excuse me, a little tickle in my throat, we got a drink here. If you look at it as just a weight loss journey, especially if you've have a large amount to lose, then my question is, okay, well, what are you going to do when you get done? And you look at me kind of with a tilt and go, well, what do you mean? I was like, okay, well, you've lost 50 pounds. That's fantastic. Now what are you going to do to stay here? Oh, well, and not everybody gets to that, point. I think a lot of people are starting to realize now that it is a lifestyle change. But what is a lifestyle change, right? I mean, we could talk about that. And, I think a lot of people, especially if you look at my story, you think, well, I've got to become a health nut. And for some people, sure, it depends on where you want to be. Maybe you do need to be a health nut in order to stay healthy. But there is some in between. And I think you've heard me in some of my last podcasts talk about, I think it was the one I talked about, an honest talk about healthy living. It's really up to you. Do you want to be a cut bodybuilder? Do you want to be a pro, or not a pro, but an elite runner? Do you want to be, I don't know, a crazy hiker like me? Or do you want somewhere in the middle, somewhere between broccoli and cookies, where, you enjoy some drinks with your friends and cake and cookies occasionally, but also a healthy lifestyle that supports your body, mind, and spirit, where you can still avoid some of those health issues that could be preventing you from living your best life. So there's something you need to examine inside of you, and you may need to go through some of the motions to find out where that is, in order to be able to transition and find out where you need to land and where you want to stay. And for me, that's changed over time. So the secret is I really have no secret. So I baited you to come in here. No, I didn't. I mean, the secret is that there's no special method. There's no special diet. If you go on a diet program, if you get weight loss surgery, if you take a pill, if you eat potatoes for a year, if you attempt to try to exercise it off, I'm going to caution you on that one. But whatever gets you there, gets you there. There are some ways that are better than others. But it really comes down to the mindset of, once you get to where you need, once you've sort of accomplished what you think you need to do, it's really more about, well, okay, is losing the weight really the thing that I need to learn? Or is it living a healthier lifestyle to avoid health issues? And these health issues are complex, okay? More often than not, folks who struggle with their physical health are struggling emotionally. And again, that's a subject that can be touchy, as I've had people say, oh, I'm overweight and I'm perfectly happy. And you know what? You may be. But if you've got diabetes and you're having to take treatment for that, and let's just say type 2 diabetes or high blood pressure, these are lifestyle treatable things. And you certainly, I'm guessing, are probably not happy having to take medication to live for something, especially that if you changed a couple of things, you wouldn't have to take those medications or have to deal with some of the other side effects from them. A lot of them, would lead to heart disease and things that shorten and decrease your quality of life. The secret. Well, let's just talk at a high level, because in this short podcast that we're going to do today, it's going to be a book worth of what I did. But the high level will at least give you a good start to be able to go on your own and understand what I did in order to understand the secret. Well, I think one of the first things I had to accept, or one of the things that I had to do, was accept that I was causing my own problems. And you've seen that picture, a guy's looking in the mirror and what's behind it, he's pointing in the mirror. It's like, I'm behind my own problems. I had to stop looking at myself as a victim of circumstance. Okay. This is another controversial subject I talked about recently. Who does the responsibility lie within for why we have this, quote, obesity epidemic? Yes, food companies are selling good tasting, highly addictive, non-nutritive foods that are making us sick and fat and unhealthy. Yes, they are. You also don't have to eat them, but they're yummy. They're engineered for us to love. But you don't have to eat them, or you don't have to eat only them. What? Well, I went to the movies last night with Terry. Yesterday for breakfast, I had a veggie smoothie, and I think I had a couple of eggs. For lunch, I had, a vegetarian chili and a lot of fruit during the day. And then last night, I had popcorn, which was good. I air popped it in the microwave, and I put a little olive oil and salt and garlic powder on it. I also had some candy, a lot of candy. And I had a couple of... you might get grossed by them, some of these packaged Hostess donuts. And I think I had a few cookies. And yeah, I kind of pigged out on some junk food. And I look at my life and I don't say, well, I exercise to eat those things. I don't convince myself that I go hike today and, I earned any of those things. I used to kind of feel that way, but I felt like eating them. That's how I felt. And this will lead into another subject sometime where I talk about looking at your health as a piggy bank, as an investment bank. But I know within me, within my health savings account, I've got enough leeway that if I want to eat things that may not necessarily be contributing best to my health, I can. So the good news is there is some middle ground. But the thing you need to first do is really examine, why is it I'm getting to what's causing that, okay? And accept that you have control, whether it feels like it or not. You may tell yourself, well, I like to drink a 12-pack of beer. I don't know, whatever it is. I like to have pizza every Friday. Okay. But if you're coming to me, or if you're listening to me, or you're wanting to change something about your health, here's the good news and the bad news. The good news, you can. The bad news is it may mean you have to do some things that are going to slightly make you uncomfortable at first. But that discomfort, one, is part of the change process, because you need to really take and you can't just keep doing these things if it's the very things that are keeping you where you are. Okay? There's no pill. And yeah, funny thing, I'm saying that. There actually is one, apparently. The FDA just recently, I don't have time, I should have looked it up, but another drug, that weight loss drug that supposedly is surprisingly helping people lose weight. Let's just say it's perfectly healthy too. Well, here's where you're going to hear Mike preach again. Okay, fine. Maybe there's no side effects. All right. I got to take another sip here before I cough. Okay. Well, if you don't change your behavior in terms of what you eat or your lifestyle, garbage in is going to affect your body in other ways. Okay. So sure, maybe this pill reduces the fat on your body, but putting garbage in your body is not a good way to sustain it, and it will add up. I had somebody a few months ago, and sorry, buddy, if you're hearing me, I'm not calling you out, but it's coming to mind right now. tell me that he was taking some sort of pills that was causing weight loss, and I guess sort of not the best bowel movements either, like diarrhea and stuff. Sorry to be gross about it, but apparently it was the side effect of this pill, but it was causing a weight reduction. And this person was eating chili dogs and he was thrilled. I can eat chili dogs and take this pill and lose weight. And I've seen there's a weight loss commercial with, I think it's with a football player and this other famous actress, and I want to choke them sometimes, but they basically said, I don't even have to change my lifestyle and I can take this pill and lose weight. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that is just, there's a difference between if you're purely in it for the aesthetics, okay, you can paint a turd, but it's still going to be a turd. And I'm not calling you a turd, but what good is it to look good if the inside of you is a mess from the garbage you're putting inside of you, right? It's, and you have to change your lifestyle to be healthier if the things you're doing now are causing you to not be healthy. Well, Mike, I eat healthy. Well, if you're not healthy, maybe you need to examine what some of those things are. Learn about some of the foods to eat. And that's the next thing. Okay. You need to understand nutrition at a basic level. You need to understand calories to a degree. Okay. We don't have time to talk about high level, all that stuff, but you need to understand what's in the food you're eating, the content of it, and how it affects your body. Now, I'm going to tell you my opinion. It's not just an opinion. It's scientifically backed by the majority of top health professionals and nutritionists, is that a mostly plant-based and whole foods, real stuff that comes from the ground and nature, is best for your health. This stuff, what do they call this? Franken food that they create, Twinkies don't grow on trees. Okay, they don't grow in the ground. Not the best example, but talking about a highly processed thing. A spongy cake filled with what's seemingly some sort of spongy sugar. Tastes great. It's all sugar, but it's crap for your body. I do love them, by the way. Those taste great. They're just terrible for you. So you need to learn a bit about nutrition, and I highly suggest learning about whole and plant-based foods. We're not going to get into diets right now because it's not worth the time. But you need to learn a little bit, and you can learn about some of those things. There's great places we can talk and follow up more on that. Okay. But try to eat food that comes from nature as much as you can. Okay. That'll help you. A lot of it's, and if we don't even have time to get into the whole organic, non-organic stuff. In general, yes, organic is better for you, but even that can get complex because what's organic, what's truly organic, not time for that right now. But yes, without pesticides, stuff that's grown with respect for the environment, yada, yada. Food that's, if you're eating animal-based products, animals that are treated better, not given drugs and hormones and things. Yes. Okay. And I'm not against meat. I eat meat. I love meat. But sausages and processed things, which, I love, not the best for your health, but, a nice, not hormone injected, free range chicken meat or beef or whatever else is definitely better for you. Learn about nutrition. Okay. The next thing, and I'm moving along quickly, but because I pontificated a lot and I want to keep our podcasts here with a digestible time. But the next thing is physical activity. Okay. You need to move. It's important. It's important for your body. Our bodies were made to move. And exercising for weight loss, in my opinion, now my fitness professionals, some of them, if you listen to my interview with Gilad Janklowitz, and I think to a degree listen to Donovan Green, who I had on my show. I had several fitness professionals on here, but those are two of my friends and favorite. And there's a lot out there. They'll talk about exercising and burning fat, but they'll also tell you you're not going to lose weight and get healthy without changing your diet. And Gilad talks a lot about that with me in my interview with him. For those who don't know who Gilad Janklowitz is, he's a celebrity fitness professional, been around since the 80s, who had a show called Bodies in Motion. So he's got quite a bit of experience in that. And his whole thing was about aerobics, but he also spent the whole show with me talking about the importance of what you eat. All right. So, and knowing that that's really what changed me the most in terms of my body. All right. So movement is important. I highly advocate stuff, the simple, the better. Walking, fantastic. Hiking, in my mind, is a double even better because you're going to get that nature exposure, which has been proven to be good. If you don't like hiking or not comfortable hiking or can't go hiking or get into nature walks, just walk. It's the best way to do it. And if you have trouble walking, walk to the end of your driveway or move or whatever, flap your arms, do something that's good for your body to get your heart rate up slightly and to move those muscles. It keeps things flowing within your body. It's just really, really good. Okay. So to recap on some of the those things, the mindset you got to keep in check. You got to really examine what the root of what's drawing you there. And so I'm going to circle towards the end here. But the second thing, again, is you got to look at what you're eating. And the last thing I talk about, of course, is the physical movement. So let's go kind of circle back to the first thing, which was, talking about, more of the changes you got to make, that you need to accept that what you're doing is causing you to where you are, is really kind of getting deeper into there and understanding what triggers you, what's driving you, what's eating you. It's not so much what you're eating, but what's eating you. Okay. And that was one I didn't address right away. Now, taking care of my body physically was important, and it certainly helped my mental health to a degree. But those demons that I had did not just magically go away just because I was exercising and taking care of stuff. I had to learn to deal with those things with other things. Okay. And that's where I talked about my last podcast, Self-Care Saved My Life, is in that whole package of making sure that my mental health was in check. And you can listen to that one. I highly encourage you to do it. But again, if your mental health is struggling, see a professional, learn to meditate, go, if you're spiritual, talk to your clergy or whoever, and try to get that into a good place. Because if you don't have a holistic picture or a holistic plan of taking care of your health, and you only focus on a couple areas, then it's going to be harder to maintain and sustain the weight loss. It's going to be harder to maintain and sustain your health. Okay. And so I really encourage you, because I think that's probably the most important thing than all the other things, is that you deal with what's eating you, what's keeping you where you are and preventing you from moving forward. And you don't have to be a victim. I, for the longest time, did not think there was any way I could get to where I am now today. I did not know how to do it. I didn't know that I had the skills to do it. I just made it up and came here myself. Now, I'm not completely, inventive here. I just went to the basics. And the basics I've just listed out. Eating good food, okay? What is good? And that's debatable what that even means nowadays, but the basics of that. What did people eat 100, 200 years ago? Stuff that came from the ground, stuff that came from animals, directly clean animals who, came more towards nature. I mean, unfortunately now most of the food, unless you're a hunter, is coming from a farm that's got huge, populations and animals getting sick, and they got to give them antibiotics so they don't get sick, and yada, yada, yada. You've heard, it's all over the media, the cycle. And the same with food, the way it's being produced. It's not the same anymore. It's genetically modified and all these other things that they manipulate, which in turn manipulate our health. Okay. Try to stay closer to those nature. Get some exercise if you can today. Take a walk, just a short one. Last night, and I'm going to wrap up here soon, I was, for some reason, feeling anxious. I had a couple things that happened at work. Nothing bad, but just I was feeling anxious. Feeling anxious about a couple things going on in my life. Terry had come home, and I at first was, I was like, all right, well, I was going to go for a bike ride. But my legs have been sore, and I've been doing a lot of exercise. And a lot of my exercise I do for mental health. Because I've learned that, let's just say I'm feeling anxious. If I go for a walk, the physical manifestations of that anxiety seem to lessen within 5, 10, 15 minutes. And I start to feel better. That anxious feeling, the worrying feeling, helps me put things into perspective. But if I sit and I wallow and I ruminate over it, it gets worse. And so physical activity, absolutely important. Okay. So physical activity, diet, dealing with what's eating you. Those are the secrets to my 200-pound weight loss. And if you can learn to take care of those things, it can be something that can transform your life. I hope today has been helpful. I hope today has been a useful use of your time. And ask me questions, okay? Because I can't read your mind. If there's things that you want to know, please reach out to Mike at MiMinspiresme.com. Certainly, folks who have compelling stories, if you want to share, come on the show. I do interviews from time to time. I haven't done one in a while. Happy to have you have a discussion with me about things. If we differ in opinion, that's okay. Let's talk. I'd like to hear that. Or if you feel I didn't cover enough for you today, let's talk and let me know. We can get these things out there because I want to be as transparent as possible so that I can help you live your best life. Hope you're doing well today. Take care of yourself and do something for your health and stay awesome. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Mike Inspires Me podcast. Stay tuned for future episodes and check out some of the past ones you may have missed. For more information on me and my story, go to MikeInspiresMe.com. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Mike Harrington Official and on Twitter at Mike Inspires Me. Stay healthy and stay awesome.